Yeah. Before I share the screen, my apologies. I have been having issues with my screen. There is a black patch I don't get, but audience who's seeing the screen maybe seeing the black patches here and there. And my apologies in advance. Okay. So today is a different way that we are organizing. As you all know that Blue and Grey has been doing a lot of knowledge series since last 2.5 to 3 years now. We have done plenty of webinars on fire testing, over probably 20 to 30 of different type of programs we have done on necessity of testing. So today we are going to have a different approach towards it's not a webinar, I would say. It's more of interaction to understand what is this testing, inspection, and certification. So today, 21st of March, Friday, at 4 p.m., I would like to welcome all of you here for this wonderful session. And it's absolutely my pleasure to, have you today. And this is called Face-to-Face session with Mrinaal Sapru. And it is hosted by Blue and Grey with Emirates Safety Lab today. So today we're going to talk about, understanding the reaction to fire, fire resistance, fire propagation. So this session is significant because fire safety is not just about regulatory requirement. It is a responsibility as India's infrastructure expands, ensuring that fire protection product meet international safety standard is more crucial than ever. As I was saying, fire testing is going to be a tool that, every end user, when they want to buy, they want to ask how this testing has been done, what kind of test certificate that you must have on your product. So likely that our new National Building Code, which expect to roll out in 2025, will have very clearly described to the fire door. How do you check fire door? It is 2 hours or 3 hours rating. So in that context, we are very honored to have Mrinaal Sapru, who is a regional manager who also takes care of Indian market from Emirates Safety Lab, who brings deep expertise in fire testing, inspection, and certification. So as I said, it's the first time such live interactions happening in India, giving us unique opportunity to engage directly with industry leader. So we have over 400 registration today, and hopefully we'll have fantastic participation and engagement. So before we proceed to the next slide, I would request if anybody has a particular question to ask the guest today, you please put it that in the Q&A box. So if it is relevant, I will pick up that question and put it across to the guest today. We already have set of questions that has been invited. We've been running this campaign for a couple of days. Many participants already shared. So I will be picking up those questions and asking to Mrinaal. So myself, I'm Dominic, the host of this program today called Face to Face. So I'm from the fire industry for almost now 36 years. I'm also a member of the National Building Code Drafting Committee. So Mrinaal is also not a very, not familiar. He's a familiar face in India. So he's been addressing on the similar subject in the webinar that we have been conducting. So with over 2 decades of expertise driving in transformational growth, he specializes in transforming sales operation into strategic business units across diverse regions, including Middle East, India, and Africa. So he has leadership and has consistently delivered measurable results such as increase in book sales and succeed creation of scalable market penetration strategies. Mechanical engineer from India and is now settled in UAE and working for Emirates Safety Lab. So that's the introduction of our speaker. So hi, Mrinaal, welcome to today's face-to-face session. So before we,
Thank you.
I pick up these questions which audience already posted in our registration. We have a link to post the questions. I would like, before we really understand, you understand the question, I would like to ask you briefly about what is Emirates Safety Lab, from when it started and what do you guys do in Dubai and what is that you're looking at India? Will you be able to present that to our audience, maybe in 5, 10 slides and introduce ESL?
Sure, sure, sure. So if you can, Lakshmi, if you can share the screen.
Lakshmi, can you share the screen that Renal has shared? Go to
All right,
Control L, make it full screen, Lakshmi. Yeah, please go ahead, Renal.
all right. Thank you for the kind words, Dominic. So without wasting, any more time, I'll straight away jump into the introduction of ESL. ESL is a UAE-based testing and certification body, and we are part of Dubai Civil Defense. And ESL is an internationally accredited third-party testing laboratory and certification body. So we specialize in the fire safety of construction products and building materials. So being in UAE, we are here for the long term, and being part of Dubai Civil Defense, we also help manufacturers to in their market access to local, regional, and global entities by providing conformity assessments. Next. Our purpose is to ensure a safer and sustainable future. And in our mission, we support manufacturers and partners to operate responsibly. We test, certify, and implement the standards of safety for a safe community. We also partner with governments and standard entities to endorse high fire standards in the country and in the region. Next. So question arises, why ESL? So before I'll like to give you a brief of when we started. So ESL was established in 2018. It's a brainchild of Dubai Civil Defense, and since then, so we can say that we are a relatively a young lab, young certification body. But over the last couple of years, when since we became commercially active, ESL has achieved a lot in terms of capabilities, in terms of the services we offer to the manufacturers, in terms of the guidance we offer to to different manufacturers who are seeking market access into UAE or into the wider Middle Eastern markets. So if we look at ESL, so ESL is capable, although the numbers here showed 90 standards and 600 standards. This is slightly old, 3 months old data. So within 3 months, we have been able to add to our capabilities. So now we are capable to test for more than 110 standards and certify for 670 standards. That itself is a huge feat, given the fact that we are relatively new in the market. And this is the ESL is the first national laboratory and conformity assessment body which provides fire, electrical, and safety testing and certification services, managed by Civil Defense of Dubai. Next. So why ESL again? Yeah, most of you would have seen labs, based in India, based out of India, in Middle East. So one thing that remains common with all the fire testing, labs is all the tests happen during either in the early hours, like 5:30 in the morning, or during the late hours after the sunset. Reason being, all the rigs are established outside the lab because of fire. We are the only testing laboratory in the region whether it's Middle East or Asia Pacific, which provides indoor testing that is not subject to extreme outdoor heat and humidity. So what that offers you, that offers your installation team to come up and set up areas that are in set up your specimen in the areas that are climate controlled. So, and we are also the only testing facility in the region to use environmental containment controls to mitigate harmful smoke entering into the atmosphere. Next. So that's our organizational chart. We are led by our able leader, Mr. David Campbell, who is an authority in himself when it comes to testing and certification. And these are the different divisions that he's managing: testing, sales and marketing, finance, quality, HR, admin, certification, and support services. Next. Our services not only are into testing and certification, but we also provide market access to different manufacturers who are seeking, product registrations with civil defense. We also provide research and development testing to different manufacturers who are developing new products. We also do certification renewals, labeling, and use of ESL mark. We also offer factory inspections, facade performances, and codes, and provide guidance on the codes and regulations. Next. Some of the services that we offer through our certification division into passive, active, and LPG. So in passive, for building and construction products; for active, emergency products and fire suppression products and LPG products. Next. We offer different types of testing depending upon what is required by the regulatory authorities, or by the application. So we offer fire testing in fire resistance, reaction to fire, fire pumps, fire suppression systems, fire propagation, and fire detection. Next. So not only that, one of the key aspect of ESL being in the market and being part of the by civil defense, we help manufacturers to enter the market, by guiding them towards the right regulatory requirement and the standards requirement in Middle East, or in UAE and wider Middle East, and we help them with their product registration applications, either with Dubai Civil Defense, Abu Dhabi Civil Defense, or Northern Emirates and Royal Oman Police in Oman. Next. We are sorry. If you go back to the slide. No, after this there was another one, right? Okay. So these are some of the accreditations and memberships that ESL holds. So we are accredited by international accreditation body, IAS, and also by the regional accreditation bodies like EAC and GAC. We are notified by MOIAT and SASO, and we are members of eGolf, ASFP. In fact, we are holding the next eGolf conference in our lab in April. Next. So based in UAE, we are already catering to different manufacturers based across the world. So we are catering to manufacturers based in Asia Pacific, based in Europe and North America. These are some of the key collaborators that we have, who are partnered with us. Some of the manufacturers who test and certify with us. Some of the certification bodies who use us as their testing partners, and the clients. Next. We can go to the last one. Yeah. So these are the different addresses that we have world over. You can see we are present in United Arab Emirates. We are based here, Saudi Arabia, in Oman, Russia, and India. So if any of you wants to reach out to us for any of the of your requirements, whether they are pertaining to your product or pertaining to any clarification or guidance you need on the regulatory requirements, please feel free to reach us out on these addresses and the phone numbers which are mentioned here, and we will be surely happy to help you. Thank you very much. That was all about ESL.
Thank you, Mrinaal. That's a crisp introduction of ESL to the participants who've been listening to you. So I will just pick up these questions that has been put up by the audience.
Okay.
Over the last 1 month, we've been running a campaign. What would you like to ask on this important subject? So I'll pick up a very important topic that has been discussed by many consultants across India.
Mhm.
Why is the first question to you, Mrinaal? Why
Okay.
is third-party fire testing and certification crucial for ensuring product reliability and safety?
Okay. So we have to understand independent fire testing and certification provides an objective assessment of a product's performance in real fire scenarios. Without the third party certification or validation, there is no assurance of the repeatability of the fire performance of a product to function as expected when it matters the most. I'll give you an example of it. Let's consider fire rated external cladding tile. I'm sure most of the audience who are listening to us, they are aware, they know what the system is. If there is no third party testing for in it on this external cladding tile system, its fire resistant claims cannot be verified. And in event of any fire, then there can be a catastrophic failure, leading to loss of life, leading to loss of property. So such tiles, most of us also understand, are inherently considered as non-combustible. But when you look at the entire assembly, there is insulation, there is adhesives for GFR, mesh, which are combustible. Hence, it becomes absolutely necessary to assess such systems under real fire conditions so that they meet required fire resistance, smoke emission, and toxicity standards, all of them. Similarly, third party certification ensures transparency, trust, and compliance towards the relevant standards. What this does to the businesses and end users, it gives them the confidence that their safety is never left to chance. That's the importance of third party fire testing and certification, and that's why it becomes very crucial.
Yeah, no, that's very important. The trust, we have someone claims that my vehicle is, safe, uh,
Absolutely.
100% safe to use. There should be
Hmm.
someone to test. Yes, this vehicle has been tested for the
True.
impact, tested at the
True.
speed. There has to
True.
be. I can't just claim and say, in crash, nothing happens to the passenger. It is just a marketing, a gimmick that I can say. But when I go with when the manufacturer say here is the certificate done by a third party,
True.
and when it comes to safety of the passenger, then I believe
Hmm.
yes. So similarly, third party, what I understand from you, third party fire testing is certification bring a lot of trust and confidence with the
Absolutely.
end user. In
Absolutely.
continuation to
Absolutely.
that questions is, you
Okay.
know, in a project we have architect, we
Mm-hmm.
have structural engineers. So once they
Mm-hmm.
have done, we have the consultant come into play. Once consultant comes
Mm-hmm.
into play, then we have project managers, and
Right.
then we have the contractors. Now
Mm-hmm.
the project specify a lot of in a tender specification. You have fire product, active fire system, and you have a passive fire system.
Mm.
Now the client says, I want to make my building fire resilient, you know,
Mm.
fire resilient, which means that in any eventuality, the occupants of the building are safe. They can safely go to the refuge area, the fire tower, what we call,
Mhm.
and fire will not spread. It will be controlled. So when I make that statement in while I market my product or the
Mm.
property, Many people come and participate in the tender. They give assurance. Mine is 3 hours rating, 2 hours rating, and my alarms are tested and all that. But again, how do this certified fire protection product contribute to overall fire safety in a building? So, what
Okay.
percentage that this certification help to contribute to safe building? When I like call in a resilient building, can I call it when I get a certified? It has been certified. It can the product that has been used can contain and
Hmm.
control the fire.
Hmm. It's a good question and quite a valid one. Certification fire protection products. They, as you rightly said while before, in the building up of this question, they play a vital role in number one, preventing, number two, containing, and number three, controlling fire hazards in a building. So from fire doors to fire retardant cables, these products, any certified product undergoes rigorous testing regime to ensure that they perform effectively in case of emergencies. Let's take an example of fire suppression system installed in a critical infrastructure like a shopping mall or a hotel.
It is
A certified fire suppression system in such a critical installation can rapidly extinguish fires, preventing them from spreading to the other areas and causing severe damage. Now, similarly, certified fire resistant doors in the same building can help contain fires within the specific areas, so which will allow the occupants of the building to evacuate safely and giving firefighters crucial time to respond. So, by choosing certified solution, all the stakeholders, such as what you mentioned, developers, engineers, consultants, and facility managers, they can enhance their buildings' resilience towards fire protection and protect occupants and comply with safety regulations, thereby reducing the risk of fire-related losses, not only in terms of life, also in terms of property and thereby liability claims.
Yeah, uh, that's really good answer. So, going, continuing to that questions, you may be getting a lot of samples for testing. Somebody says it's 2 hours
Yeah,
and 30 minutes fire resistance.
right.
So, I'm sure that many of the product also fail to meet those minimum requirements. So, what are
Hmm.
the most common reason for product to fail? Fired while you test the fire. So how can the manufacturer avoid, before sending them, what are the precautions that they
Hmm.
must take, and why does it fail?
See, there are many reasons or scenarios for which products fail during a fire test. You cannot pinpoint anyone. Reasons can range from like material composition, or engineer design, or not the correct formula for the fire retardant treatments on the products, or installation itself. All these scenarios or the reasons can potentially lead to variations of in performance. I would call it variations in performance, not a failure in during a fire test. So we have to understand one thing: failures are inevitable, but they can be avoided. So now coming to the question that how can manufacturers avoid them? So, in my opinion, they can. There are a couple of ways that manufacturers can prepare themselves for the fire test. They can conduct pre-testing or research and development test. They can perform in-house testing or use a third-party assessment before official testing, so that they can identify the weaknesses in their product, and once they identify the weaknesses, they can re-engineer and improve the product. Number one. This number two would be using, ensuring that they use a quality material. What do I mean by that? By using fire resistant materials and verifying their compliance with international standards. It's very crucial. Many times, what we have seen is that the manufacturer, if it is an assembly, one or the other component is not fire rated, so which can lead to failure of the test, or
Mhm.
its fire performance has never been validated. Now, this was number two. Number three can be manufacturers can maintain strict quality control in their production lines. Variation in the production batches can also lead to test failures. So how they can stop that? They can have regular audits in the units to help ensure consistency. And I'll be a little selfish here. In case still the manufacturer needs some guidance, engage with our team of experts early on. We can guide you on the applicable standards and regulatory requirements that are needed.
So, Mrinal, what do you say is
Hmm.
any product that goes into building, whether it is fire protection, where active fire or a passive
Mhm.
fire, do you feel that every product has to be tested and certified? What do you think? What do you say about it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Every product, any building which is there, which has some level or certain level of human occupancy, should have products which are tested and certified. See, fire safety is a collective responsibility. So that's why certification becomes crucial, because it verifies that the fire protection product which has been installed in a particular structure will perform as intended during emergencies. Without proper certification, there is no assurance that a fire protection product, let's say a fire resistant door or an extinguisher or suppression system, will effectively contain or extinguish a fire. I can give you an example on that. Let's take an example of fire rated partition wall, which must meet certain fire resistance standards. Every country has these regulations. So those standards can be American as per ASTM E119 or European as per EN 1364-1. If uncertified, there is a very high probability that it may fail prematurely during a fire, allowing flames and smoke to spread uncontrollably. As against this, consider a certified fire rated wall, which has undergone rigorous testing to ensure that it can withstand extreme fire conditions. And this wall will help to protect lives, property, and business continuity. So, what I mean to say by this is, by obtaining a third party certification through an accredited body like ESL, manufacturers and building owners can ensure that their fire protection product will meet the highest standard, highest safety and compliance standard in any jurisdiction they are in.
Thank you, Mrinal. And if you see, there's so many fires happening. Actually,
Mhm.
we think, year on year, the fire accident, fire tragedy will come down because technology is improving, products are rolling out, there are
Mm.
standards, there are testing labs, everything. So we all expect the accident rates comes down. But
Correct.
it is absolutely opposite. When you look at last 2 years, the number
True.
of fire. I'm just talking from the India context.
Mm.
The number of fires have gone up. The fire calls have gone up. You know, the tall buildings for 20, 42nd floor getting into
Mm.
fire. The fire accident. People are
Mm.
jumping out of the windows and all that.
Mm.
So, do you see, because since you are traveling in many countries and also interacting with various other regulatory authorities, is this testing requirement is becoming a necessity in their country? Do you think that the role of regulatory
Mm.
authorities playing an important role that they have to make
Mm.
it mandatory in their country? And what do you see in India? How do you think that India is also moving forward when it comes to safety regulations?
See, why do fire safety regulations exist? If I ask you, why do they exist? They exist, number one, to protect lives. Number two, properties. Number three, businesses. From from what? The impacts of fire incidents. So what we have seen is, as industries have been growing, expanding globally, not growing, expanding globally, markets demand uniform safety benchmarks to ensure that products perform reliably in different environments. Now, when it comes to India, I can see there has been a lot of traction over the last 1 year, because we have been interacting, and not only interacting, we have been certifying and testing for many Indian manufacturers now who I think have suddenly, or for all the good reasons, become very, very, conscious about the fire safety regulations. Not only because they want to export their product to UAE or Middle East markets. No, in their application forms to us, they mention India, UAE, and any other country. So, which means they want to have the similar kind of quality of fire safety quality in India as well. So, regulations. So, without meeting these regulations, products cannot and should not be sold, installed, or used in all these fires that we have seen, like what you mentioned in the high rises. So, there you cannot pinpoint that because of this the fire happened, but definitely somewhere the fire regulations have been tampered with. So that is why it becomes absolutely important that these the products, the fire protection products, should not be sold, installed, or used in any of the infrastructure projects. So because they put businesses at risk of, okay, one is risk of life, another is risk of property. That is personal. But when it comes to the businesses who are supplying these products, what happens to them? They run a risk of legal penalties. They run a risk of their product recalls. They run a risk of liability issues. And in current scenario, which is a highly increasingly interconnected marketplace, where where entities based in UAE are supplying to projects in India, and in manufacturers in India are looking to export their products to UAE or Middle East or any other market. Compliance with fire safety regulations is not only about just meeting the legal requirements, is about upholding safety, trust, and responsibility.
Now, if someone has tested the product in Indian
Mhm.
laboratory, okay, which is also, now
Mhm.
he wants to get into an export business. So
Okay.
uh, it could have tested by any local laboratory here. If he wants to come and you know, find a partner and sell the product to Dubai market, is
Okay.
it is necessary to test the whole process again for them, or it just a certification that he wants to apply?
See, every market has or every country has a different regulatory requirements. Minimum is testing and certification of such fire protection products. So, if you ask me, like fire safety knows no borders. Many manufacturers, and as I mentioned earlier, many manufacturers in UAE, they aim to supply their products to global markets, while international brands, including ones from India, they seek entry into the Middle East and Gulf regions. What we at ESL are, strive for, we bridge this gap by ensuring that the products comply with both local regulations as well as UAE Fire and Life Safety Code and international standards like European, American, and American standards. So, by aligning with global standards while addressing regional compliance needs, businesses can expand confidently without compromising on safety and quality.
So it is necessary to, even though it is tested and certified
Yeah.
by another lab, but
Mhm.
as per the Dubai Civil Defense, it has to be verified by ESL. Am I correct?
Yes, that's a different question. So, yes, you're right. As per the new Dubai regulations, which are only pertaining to the Emirate of Dubai, these new regulations came into effect last year in January 2024. So, as per these regulations, all the products which are intended to be sold or installed in any project in Dubai, there's a document called as certificate of compliance. Once the product has been tested and certified, there's an additional check and measure which is only specific to UAE, which is called a certificate of compliance. For all the Dubai projects, that certificate of compliance will have to be issued by ESL only. So,
Hmm.
which means all the manufacturers have to come to us in order to get their COCs issued for Dubai. Now, now within the framework of this whole certificate of compliance being issued by ESL, there are certain products which have some additional scrutiny or checks and measures based on the applications they have. So those are facades, cladding, and roofing. Wherein, if the manufacturer is seeking the COC to be issued for the Dubai project, they have to test and certify the material, their product with ESL. Does
So
that answer
to
your
get
question?
to to get Dubai Civil Defense approval, so the
Yeah.
COC is necessary. Without the COC certificate, I can't get it approved. Am I right?
Yes, not only Dubai, it's for all the seven Emirates. But Dubai has a
Oh,
has
for
a
the
has a has a has a different requirement that those COCs will be issued by ESL. But for the other Emirates, their existing certification bodies are allowed to issue the COCs.
now, from your experience in the testing
Mhm.
industry, which are the critical product that one must be tested for a
Hmm.
safe building construction? What are the critical component that must be tested?
The critical components which we feel and as per UAE Fire and Life Safety Code, which are included in there, are let's say facade and cladding material that is very very critical. In that you have aluminum composite panels, you have external insulation, you have glass and curtain walls, then you have fire rated doors and windows and partitions, glass partitions, you have fire stopping and passive fire protection systems, with you have sealants and coatings, you have intermittent paints, fire dampers and ventilation systems. Then we discussed about fire rated walls, fire resistant walls and ceilings. Then active fire protection systems such as fire detection alarm systems, sprinkler and suppression systems, fire extinguishers and suppressants. So all these products which are required to make a building, fire safe, they all should be tested and certified. And at ESL, we offer all the comprehensive testing and certification for such products.
That's good. Now, very important topic that again has been discussed in India and other countries that
Mhm.
you know. Am I audible, Mrinaal?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. After the incident of a London fire, that is Grenfell Tower,
Hmm.
and subsequently the Hadras Hotel in Dubai and a couple of other major fire in other countries, and of course India.
Hmm.
The ACP panel, aluminum composite panels, are the culprit in carrying the fire to the top floor. So basically, ACPs become fire carrier, because of the combustible metal they use for joining, for join. So there's a lot of discussion whether ACP should be banned. Because look at India, they use very widely.
Hmm.
Any hospital that you take, the old hospital, they want to renovate, they want to make it more appealing, aesthetically good, modern. The whole
Hmm.
cladding, is made of ACPs.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
because they use ACPs for various reason, it looks good,
Hmm.
very fast in completing the project.
Hmm.
So, but mainly these ACPs are causing fire spread. Some countries regulate ACPs. Do we ACPs? Many countries, including UK and they regulate
Even
use
UAE.
of ACP.
Yeah.
So, do we have any standard for testing ACP in India? As I know, I don't see any laboratory testing for ACP. So, does ESL equip to test ACPs manufactured by Indians?
So what I could understand, there are two questions. Do we have the standards? Number one, and is ESL equipped to test?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes, the answer is yes, we have the standards. In fact, UAE has this a very strict regulation for testing and approving ACPs, which are aluminum composite panels, due to their, as you rightly put, due to the significant role in fire spread. UAE Fire and Life Safety Code of Practice 2018 outlines the fire performance requirements for ACP, which ensures the compliance and then the stringent safety standards. They, over the years, when the code came into, when this revision of the code came out, by that time, the authorities had done all their investigations and identified all the, weak areas which could be plugged, and based on that, the testing standards specifically for ACPs and MCMs in UAE are 1350 EN European standard, EN 13501-1. It's a classification standard which classifies materials based on their burning characteristics. And and again, uh, the buildings, the structures in which the ACP has to be installed, they have been categorized as per their level of occupancies and the nature of their criticality. For example, shopping malls, theme parks, schools, hospitals, high rises. So they need to have a certain class A1 or A2, classification in order to be used. If it is a low rise or a mid rise, then it has to be class B can be accepted. Now that's a product classification standard. When it comes to the facade assembly, because ACP becomes the main component in the facade assembly. So the assembly, the standard which is used to test the assembly is NFPA 285. It's an American standard which evaluates the fire propagation characteristics of the exterior wall assemblies. Now, this is, do we have the standards? Yes, we have the standards, and I explained to you. Is ESL capable of doing that? Absolutely. We are fully capable and fully equipped to test ACPs manufactured in India or other regions, ensuring compliance with UAE and international fire safety regulations. We our team of experts. They can assess ACP for reaction to fire, fire propagation, and full-scale facade performance. And not only that, we also provide certification and market access support
Wow.
to all the ACP manufacturers so that they can gain approval for ACP use in UAE and Middle East markets.
I'm sure India must be supplying large number of ACBs to Middle East, and when
Absolutely.
it comes on quality, I'm sure India must be
True.
having a good share.
We are certifying a lot of them.
Yeah. And now I have another two or three questions to Mrinal, and there are 5, 7 questions from the audience. So I try to, wrap up my questions from which I got it from the audience. So, what once the product is certified by ESL, what
Mhm.
steps should be manufacturer take to maintain the compliance with involving fire safety standards?
Okay. Please, can you come again? Sorry.
Maintaining compliance after certification. So once
Mhm.
one is certified, what steps the manufacturer take to maintain the compliance?
To maintain the compliance. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Again a very good question, because most of the times people think that we have done our certification, we have done the testing, and we are done. We have to understand that the certification is not a one time achievement. It's not just a piece of paper which you, if you have, you're you're done. It requires a long term diligence to remain compliant with changing regulations. So once a product is certified by ESL or by any certification body, manufacturers should regularly monitor, any regulatory changes, because fire safety standards over the last couple of years we have seen they have been evolving very fast. Staying informed about the new requirements will help them maintain the compliance, so that when they come up with the renewal of their certificate, they don't, go into surprises. Then also conducting their regular quality checks. They should ensure that the material quality or their processes, production processes standard, are consistent, which will reduce the risk of non-compliance in future audits. But what I mean by future audits, because once the certificate is issued, the certification bodies, including ESL, we audit the manufacturers on a yearly basis on their consistency and compliance with with these regulations. Then engaging in the periodic recertifications. What do you mean? What I mean by that is some standards require products to be retested and thereby recertification to confirm continued compliance. And last but not the least, in case, because world of standards, world of regulations is very complex. And the manufacturers, in case they need any help in understanding that, they can reach out to us. We can help guide them through the entire requirement of the regulatory updates to help them stay ahead of the changes.
Is there any time period for retesting the product? Do you have any validity or life for the product that has been tested?
See, product retesting or recertification, for example, it depends on different factors, such as there is a revision in the standard, the product itself has undergone changes, product specifications have undergone changes, or there are changes in the regulatory requirement of a particular geography. So in those cases, the what the manufacturer can do, that they can go back to the certification body, whether it's ESL or someone else, and they can ask for revalidating their existing certificate and the test reports.
Okay, these are the questions that I got it from a couple of audience. So
Okay.
I think we have took around 14 questions that we have wanted to clarify from you.
Okay.
Um, let's take one or two questions from, I think I will take another 5-10 minutes of your time. I'll assure you that we close it in next 10 minutes.
I'll
So
try my best to answer them.
Praveen is asking, hello, sir. I have two questions related to fire resistant testing in fire furnace. So you can also see on the question Q&A down. You can also read those questions.
Am
The
I?
first,
Will
the
it be in the
question from
chat? So, okay,
Praveen
in the
Vijay.
Q&A.
Yeah. Sorry,
Okay. In a Q&A.
Praveen
In the
Vijay.
Q&A.
Yeah, in the Q&A
Okay.
box, you can find this question. So Praveen Vijay is asking, for a fire furnace with dimension of X into Y, for example, 3 into 3, how the third dimension depth is decided? I have not seen this being mentioned in the standard.
So possibly I'm not the right person to answer this. This can be best answered by somebody who is continuously
Testing
testing.
engineer.
Yes, a testing engineer. So I'll take your question, Mr. Praveen, and I'll share it with our testing team, and I'll come back to you on this. Even your next question is on the furnaces and how they operate. So I'm sorry I'm not able to answer you at this stage, but I'll make sure that I'll get your answers. Thank you for these questions.
Okay, Govinda is asking, normally on a roof, we provide some MS structure for supporting the solar panel. Does using polypropylene sheets below the solar panel to keep safe from rainwater, is it allowed with regard to fire safety? So is this asking from the fire safety regulations, is solar
Hmm.
panel can we use polypropylene?
See, again, this requirement of using any material below the solar panel, it again differs from geography to geography, jurisdiction to jurisdiction. So in UAE, we have been certifying solar panels and testing and certifying solar panels which are installed on the roofs of the building. So they become a roofing application in that case. So, but apart from that, we have not come across any solar panel with the polypropylene sheet below them for to keep safe from rainy water, because maybe due to the fact UAE, unlike India, does not get too much of a rain. So that's why this requirement has never been there.
The last question is BS1 do test available at ESL? Because I think this gentleman must be in Dubai.
Yes.
Is this required by Dubai Civil Defense?
Depends on which product you're looking for, but if you're looking for well, I mean, any product, yes, we do. This is a this test. I'm sure you're talking about classification standard as per EN 13501-1. Yes, we do offer this test at ESL, and this is required not only by the Civil Defense. This is required by UAE Fire and Life Safety Code in across all the seven Emirates.
Yeah. Concluding, remarks. Emirates Safety Lab is based out of Dubai. What's
Hmm.
your plan for India? You want to, collaborate with the local testing laboratory and also collaborate with BIS and also offer ISI mark on the fire doors and all that. So these are things that is happening in India. The product need to be ISI mark
Hmm.
um, along with UL and FM if somebody wants it. But ISI will become a mandatory for a product that we call safe
Hmm.
product to be used. So in the next 2 3 years, I'm expecting that to come into enforcement will definitely will be strong to get ISI. So what's the plan for ESL? Are you having a satellite lab? Are you setting up your own lab, or how is it?
See, we do consider India as a very important market, and we have plans for India, and I've shared some of those with you. And that is why I'm also traveling next week to India, and yes, we will. But before taking that step, we have to be absolutely sure of what the local regulatory requirements are there. If getting an ISI certification is needed, we will look into that direction. At the same time, we are also talking to different laboratories locally in India to see how we can partner with them in order to cater the Indian manufacturers in a better way.
You know, Indian government, UAE government consider as brothers. They love each other. There's a lot of free trade and exchange of technology, exchange of ideas between these two countries, UAE and India. And
Hmm.
UAE is allowed to build the largest temple, in the Middle
True,
East.
true,
They welcome, India. I think those who know about the Middle East, so India has the highest population in the Middle East. They build the whole country, so there is a
true.
strong relation between India and the UAE. I'm
Absolutely.
sure UAE will look at India as also one of the serious market,
Hmm.
and I'm sure that you will help our laboratory also to collaborate with you and exchange and improve the testing methods, and also collaborate with Indian government and Indian agency. And
Hmm.
the intention is to make building fire resilient. Now, you don't want fire to happen anywhere. Even, we can't say that fire will never happen. I will never write,
Right.
this thing. However, how much ever, whatever the test you do,
Yeah,
fire
absolutely.
happen. Yeah, fire to
True,
happen. But
true.
what kind of damage that you want to control? If you want to
Hmm.
really contain and control and fight the fire, you don't need to wait for the fire department to send the fire truck and you fight the fire. Can we build a system where we have an effective fire protection system to, control the fire, and you have a fantastic pacifier system to ensure that doesn't spread, especially critical building like hospitals, data
True,
center. No, you
true.
can't compromise the
Correct,
safety there. So
correct.
both, UAE government and Indian government has a great
Hmm.
relation. I'm sure we will have. I'm sure ESL will look into India very seriously, and we will the kind of infrastructure that's coming up in India. The bullet trains are now, metros are now the whole history now. Everywhere there's a metro. You go to any tier two city, there are metros. Now we are talking about bullet trains. where there's
Mm.
no bullet train in Middle East. But I'm happy that India will have the first bullet train
In
soon
fact,
from
UAE
Beijing.
has run the first train ever, and
Well,
yeah, and that too, it's not commercial yet. It's only for the industrial purpose. So yeah, true.
So, when you look at the kind of infrastructure coming up in India, I'm sure India wants the best of technology, best of solution provider,
Mm,
best of friends to go hand in hand and to make building more resilient to
mm.
environment and fire. So, with this, I would like to end, and it is wonderful to interact with you, Mrinal, and
Pleasure is all
looking
mine.
forward to
Thank
see
you.
you again and again. And I'm sure, you being Indian, and I'm sure, your heart is also for India. I'm sure that
Yes,
you'll push the UAE government to come to India and set up labs here. And look forward to see you here in
hopefully in the
India very
future.
soon. And exactly, 1 hour now. I promised you that I will not take more than 1 hour. We
Thank
have
you.
still
Thank
one
you.
minute to go, 2 minutes to go. I would like to thank all the audience who has taken a lot of interest in listening to this conversation.
Thank you for
And
joining
I am
me.
sure you
Yeah.
enjoyed this conversation and you got your answers. And I know you have many questions to ask. And my colleague Joe's there and Lakshmi there putting up our email ID. And you can still continue. It's not the end of our question answer. You can continue to ask any questions related to fire testing or passive fire. Please do touch with us, and we'll come back soon. There's so many subjects that we can talk, and we will come back soon with another episode. Thank you. Have a wonderful travel. So have a wonderful safe travel back to India.
Thank
And
you.
those
Thank
who are
you.
listening to, have a wonderful weekend with your family. Look forward to see you again. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lakshmi. Thank you, Jose. Bye bye. See you.